I really can't imagine my life being anything but being a teacher, I suppose. Although I don't know if that's a realisation I had when I was young. I think it's something I've definitely come to as I've, been at the university more. I think I had some really awesome teachers when I was in undergrad. In particular, I had a teacher who was a really understated teacher. He spoke really quietly, but he really, in his way, conveyed how passionate he was about the subject and what he was sharing. Like, he genuinely loved history. And I think that's something that I want to convey when I'm teaching, is that I love what I'm doing. I'm passionate about it because it gives me an opportunity to share my experiences, share what I know, but also learn from students. I don't think teaching is a one-way street. For me, it's two ways, and I get a lot from the students in front of me. I want to know about their lives. I want to understand why they're doing what they're doing. I always talk about these aha moments, when I'm teaching about something like colonisation. And you can see the students in the class, with their eyes kind of light up because things start to fall into place a little bit and they start to understand. And being able to be part of that, being able to teach that, being able to share knowledge that lets that happen is something that I love.
She is really thoughtful about her teaching. She thinks a lot about a course from start to finish, how it's going to be for the students, the kind of content she brings, the assessments, all of it. And is constantly turning things over, what works, what doesn't work, what can be improved, how might we kind of change things. So I think in terms of an ongoing active practice, she really thinks a lot about her teaching, and it shows.
When it was my first time guest lecturing, I was really nervous, despite the fact that it was a 2020 lockdown. And the one thing she said to me was, "You're the only one here that knows about this topic. Don't worry if you fumble ever. These are stories that you're carrying with you, so feel empowered to make these stories heard." And I felt that changed the momentum in the way I saw myself guest lecturing.
One of the reactions that I've had from students to my teaching that's always kind of stuck with me is that he said my teaching was human, that I acted like the same person I am inside the class and outside the class, and that I took effort to understand students and be able to connect to them. I think that's what an excellent teacher is, right? Taking that time to really be in that space with students and not be about, that it's that old sage on the stage is what they call it, that one person who's there, and they believe it's their job to fill the student up with knowledge as the empty receptacle. But students don't come to us like that. Students come to us, as people who bring their own different kinds of knowledges. And particularly as a lecturer in Pacific Studies, I want students to come and share those knowledges with us freely and openly and confidently, to understand that the knowledge that they bring to that space is one that I value, and that increasingly the students in the class value as well. I think it's just really about understanding that the student is a whole person when they come into your class. And that's something that I don't think is seen a lot. A student comes in, they haven't had a good night's sleep. They've been, dropping their siblings off at school. They had to stay up late to do chores. They've, got funerals or weddings or birthdays or things. Students don't come into our classes disconnected from their lives. They come into our classes, connected to those things that impacts the way that they engage in the learning environment. So that's about understanding that students bring all of these things in, And my interaction with students is not just about, being their teacher. It's about actually being supportive and helping them succeed. Pacific students are students I'm the most passionate about. I love it when I have a lot of different students in my class, but Pacific students are the ones that I connect to the most, and a lot of that is because I see myself in them. I was at an institution that was this institution, actually, when I was at this university as a student, I struggled to be myself in these spaces. And it was really hard to get a sense of belonging or sense of connection to a space that fundamentally is not made for us. right? This is a very Western institution that is focused on the idea of succeeding, an idea of succeeding that doesn't necessarily gel with what we believe as Pacific people is success, right? So it is important for me to be able to support the success of our students in the way that they value, not in the way that the institution values. Of course, I want students to pass. I want them to excel. But more importantly, it's about excelling in the way that they value as Pacific students.